ladies and gentlemen, it's Jonathan Mathis here. How's everyone doing tonight? I'm doing well. Happy Sunday to you all. For those of you guys who hate Mondays, I feel bad for you. But yes, unfortunately, I hate to break the news. Tomorrow is Monday because today is Sunday, December 5th. Yes, we reached the end of another week. Well, the start to another week. I'm so excited, as you guys can probably hear in my voice. I'm very fired up right now because I got good news to share with you guys before I get started in this video. The good news is that I have a new podcast on the horizon. Yes, I have a new podcast with my good friend, Jake Book, who reached out to me about doing a podcast. And I said yes. I couldn't turn it down because Jake's a good friend of mine and he has great knowledge for sports and he loves to podcast as well. And so we got a new show and it's going to be called Take Two with Jake and Jonathan. And it's going to be over at the Spotlight Sports Network, a network that has partnered with the ASAP network, another network that I'm part of as well. And so I'm just excited. I'm ready to go to work. I love what I do. This stuff is a lot of fun. I love talking sports. So I want to welcome everyone in to this video because we're about to talk about the college football playoffs. We're about to talk about the 4 teams that will represent the college football playoffs this year. And how exciting is that? Because a lot of people love college football. I, for one, even though I didn't pay as much attention as I usually do in previous years, I didn't really pay attention that much this year. But towards the end of the season, it somewhat captivated my interest again. So now I'm talking about college football once again. So, as you guys know, the college football playoff field is set. It's Alabama, Michigan, Georgia, Cincinnati. Did the committee get it right? Absolutely they did. Now, I had originally said that it would be Alabama, number 1, Michigan, number 2, Cincinnati, number 3. Yes, people thought I was crazy for putting Cincinnati at number 3 and Georgia at number 4. Now, the reason why I switched Georgia and Cincinnati, and I gave Cincinnati the number 3 seed, is because Georgia lost in blowout fashion to Alabama in the SEC championship game. So that gave Georgia 1 loss. And when you look at Cincinnati's record, they didn't lose any games this season. Cincinnati ended the season unbeaten. I mean, that's a team that flirted with perfection all season long. But I'm sure they're happy with the number 4 seed. I'm sure they are satisfied with that because, for one, it's not as much pressure on them. And 2, they're just happy to have made history. They're in the college football playoffs, no matter what. You know, but the college football committee, the last thing they wanted was a rematch, a Georgia-Alabama rematch. That's the last thing they wanted. So to avoid all of that, they made it where Alabama would get the 1 seed, Michigan would get the 2 seed, Georgia will get the 3 seed, and Cincinnati would get the 4 seed. Because had it been any different, then we would have saw the rematch of Alabama and Georgia. And they did not want that to happen. Because if you are to see that rematch happen again, it will be in the national championship game. And remember, this is also about generating billions of dollars for college athletics. Let's not forget that this is about money. It's a big money-making enterprise. It's still a business at the end of the day, even though it's a game to a lot of us, but it's a business as well. And so, Alabama gets the number one seed, and I mean, they ultimately deserve to be the number one team in the country. I mean, they have a stud quarterback, Bryce Young, who, ignited an offensive explosion on Saturday in that SEC championship game. Georgia's defense of all teams, Georgia, didn't have an answer for Bryce Young. Bryce Young was able to do anything he wanted against that defense. He picked apart that defense and had the game of his life on the big stage. It was an impressive win. It wasn't that much of a surprise to me because, again, Alabama is well coached by Nick Saban, and Nick Saban has done a good job to put his team in position to win games. His team are always prepared for big moments. He has done a good job instilling resiliency in his team, and his team never gives up. They keep looking for ways to win football games, and they always find a way to bounce back from adversity, as you saw once again. Michigan at number 2. I like it. Some people even put Michigan at number one. They were bold enough to say Michigan deserved to be number 1. That Michigan should have leapfrogged over Alabama. That would have been getting too carried away. You can't put Michigan over Alabama. Alabama by far had a tougher schedule. You got to remember they play in a powerhouse conference, the SEC. Michigan plays in the second best conference, arguably, the Big Ten. The Big Ten is not an easy conference either, but Michigan is definitely at number 2. Look, they had a convincing win over Ohio State. Then they take care of business in the Big Ten championship game and win that game over Iowa in dominant fashion. So that definitely gave Michigan all the bragging rights in the world, and that solidified their status as the second best team on that playoff bracket. And then you look at Georgia at number 3. Okay, Georgia can never beat Alabama. We've seen enough games to, basically call it as it is. Truthfully, Georgia always lose to Alabama. And Nick Saban always has his team ready against a team as good as Georgia. Now, Georgia enters Saturday's game with a top 2 offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency. And again, I think the committee purposely, put Georgia at 3 just so they could avoid, again, that rematch against Alabama. And then, of course, you got the Cinderella team. How beautiful is that? That's probably the most beautiful story in college football. You got the Cincinnati Bearcats. A team that a lot of people continue to disrespect. A team that a lot of people say, well, they didn't have a tough schedule like Alabama or Michigan or Georgia. No, they didn't. But you can only control what you can control. And Cincinnati you know, whether you agree or not, they won all their games. They played on their schedule. You can only play what the schedule gives you. So respectfully, Cincinnati has earned that spot, that number 4 spot, and they made history. They wrote their own chapter in the NCAA college football history book. Now, can they continue on with their storybook season and put some wins together and beat a team like Alabama? It's not going to be easy because Alabama has, picked up some steam late in the season. I mean, at times it was brutal for them. They had a brutal stretch during the regular season. There was times that they couldn't quite put it all together. But Alabama flipped the switch at the right time and started to put it all together, as they usually do. So, can Cincinnati put Alabama on upset alert? I don't know. Luke Fickell has a great team. He's done a great job, solidifying that football program. He's done a great job developing that talent over there. And he's done a great job directing that program. Cincinnati has a lot of great players on both sides of the ball, defensively and offensively. They have one of the best receivers, arguably, in the country. A sure-handed receiver who can make plays with his hands and his feet. They have a pretty decent quarterback, too. They have guys that can make plays on defense and disrupt plays offensively. They have guys that can get after the quarterback. Put some pressure on the quarterback. Cincinnati has a pretty good team. So they feel like they belong. And they have definitely earned the right to play in the college football playoff. They belong in the college football playoff. So I think the committee got this right. I think they did a great job. So now the Bearcats will face Alabama in the Cotton Bowl on Friday, December 31st. The Wolverines get the Bulldogs in the Orange Bowl later that evening at 7:30 p.m. These games take place on New Year's Eve. And then, of course, you will have Georgia playing Michigan, which will be a very, very good game as well. But Georgia controlled their own destiny. All they had to do was beat Alabama. They were top ranked for the entire playoff ranking until they met an Alabama team, one that's very resilient, one that is poised and athletic, obviously. So I mean it's gonna be good, and I think the committee again got it right. Clemson at 8. I believe Clemson. Wait, no, I'm looking at something wrong here. I was reading off of something here, but this is something else. I'm reading something totally different. But the committee did get it right. I think Cincinnati will do a good job handling the underdog role. Definitely. You got to remember Cincinnati, beat Notre Dame back in October on the road. And Luke Fickell, again, has built their success and they feel good, being the underdogs. And they're just gonna go out there and take one game at a time. And I think Cincinnati will be fine. But I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan wins it all. I really, really wouldn't be surprised if Michigan win it all. Because right about now, Michigan look like the deepest team. They look like the team with the most talent. I mean, you talk about that defense led by Hutchinson. You look at what they've done on offense. Hashan Haskins has been a beast running the football. He is dangerous on the ground. And Michigan has done a great job executing offensively. They've done a great job making plays on the defensive side of the ball. So I like Michigan a lot. I also like Alabama because Bryce Young and again, Nick Saban, has his guys ready to go, particularly in big games, in big moments. And I think the Bulldogs, man, I think they're the biggest concern coming out of the Alabama game. The defense got exposed. The secondary was, helpless. And there was that never-ending question about the quarterback. The quarterback situation may need some rethinking. Kirby Smart may have to, bench Bennett and, give back the starting job to JT Daniels, the guy who used to play for USC, the guy who transferred from USC to Georgia. He may have to do some rethinking and give him back the starting job. I think that's the big thing for Georgia is the quarterback situation. And also, tightening some things up defensively. And if there's one person who can make the adjustments defensively, it's Kirby Smart. Because Kirby Smart is a defensive specialist and he understands defense better than anything else. So I think, Georgia need to get back to the basics if they want to have a chance. But I don't know. I just have that feeling that it might be Alabama and Michigan in the national championship game. I don't think we're going to see the rematch of the rematch of Alabama and Georgia. I don't think we're going to get that narrative. I think we're going to see Alabama and Michigan, and I think it's going to be an instant classic. That's how I see it, all unfolding by the time it's all said and done. Oh my God, I've done gone 20 minutes in this video. Wow. I love to talk, ladies and gentlemen. I have fun talking with you guys. And when I'm talking to you guys about sports, the time just goes by so fast. It's amazing how time flies when you're having fun. But I've been talking long enough. I got to wrap it up at some point. I can't go on and on forever. And I got to keep in mind too, some of you guys don't have a very good attention span. Some of you guys probably didn't clicked off already. Because the average attention span, particularly when it comes to sports videos, the average person only watch for about 12 minutes at the most. If not 12 minutes, probably less than that, about 7 to maybe even 3 minutes. Depending on the person. But I've talked enough. I'm going to wrap this up because I'm missing the football game anyway. And I want to see the Chiefs and the Broncos. I mean, that's an AFC matchup that I want to watch. And I want to see who wins the game. The Chiefs are the Broncos. That's the game that was flexed. And the NFL moved it to Sunday night. So, let me get back to watching my game, drinking my beer, and I'll talk to you guys in the upcoming video. Thanks for watching, everyone.